we're starting this morning's conversation. Let me quickly introduce my guest for today. Ibim Seminary is the immediate past Commissioner of Information and Communications in Rivers State. I don't know whether she's back in active journalism now or the running up and down of a journalist. Ibim, how are you?
Fine, thank you, Benga. Good morning.
I know that your tour of duty has ended.
Yes.
Officially in Rivers State. Are you back with us?
Of course. Are you sending me away from the profession?
All right. Good to
I'm back at my desk.
Good to see you.
Thank you.
All right. Barrister Wagu Bombs is also joining us for this discussion. Getting this man to be here today has been very hectic. He's immediate past Attorney General and Commissioner for Justice in Rivers State. Good to see you.
Thank you, Benga.
I guess you are back to full legal practice. That's why it's difficult.
You're right. Thank you very much.
Good to see you.
Thank you.
All right. Maybe I should start with you, actually.
Okay.
If I have allegations of, say, corruption or abuse of office against somebody who was in public office but has left public office, no longer has immunity, is not cloaked in any official paraphernalia and all of that. And within the framework of what we have in the country today, you have some security agencies, you have anti-corruption institutions set up for the purposes of prosecuting such cases. What do I do, either as an organization or as an individual?
Well, there are many options, but the easiest and simplest thing to do for me is to lodge a complaint to the police. Okay. And the police will arrest the person. And police are even entitled or enjoined by law, the Police Act, to launch into investigation and even prosecution. So you go to the police, you complain to the police. If your property is stolen and you think anybody is responsible, all you do is to complain to the police. It's the simplest and the easiest.
If the allegations border on the abuse of public office
or
border on financial
whatever kind of crime is crime.
Yeah. I'm saying I'm asking that follow-up question because there are also other agencies that have specific mandates.
That's why I say it is the simplest and easiest thing to do.
Okay. I'm
not aware of any law that prohibits the police from investigating any kind of crime. Okay. Yes.
Okay. If I choose instead to ignore all of these institutions that exist, and I take the matter to the media, would that?
You are trying to serve other purposes, if you ask me, and it depends on the context and the nature. I don't want to be academic about it. A person can express a thought to the media, but you don't try somebody on the media.
Okay.
Yes.
I'm sure you know what I'm alluding to.
I don't know until you ask me. I don't know anything.
Okay. Where I'm leading to.
My mind is hardly closed.
Where I'm leading to is, if you have an organization, for example, making allegation against somebody who has no immunity,
yes,
you can easily complain to the police, like you said.
Yes.
But chooses to go to court to depose to an affidavit, and then you now exhibit the affidavit. You publish it as advertorials in newspapers. The affidavit, first of all, is not a cause of action because it is not a suit. It has no parties. Whoever you are making allegations against is not being called upon to come and defend such allegations in that court.
Well, if you stated that I should know where I'm going to, I now know what you're talking about. I'm sure you are referring to I read it too in this day.
Yes, the affidavit, yes, published.
And it was captioned in the High Court
of Rivers State.
Yes,
the High Court of Rivers State.
It gave the fraudulent intention, the misrepresentation that the matter was already before a court. That was the intention of that misleading caption in the High Court of Rivers State. That is usually how captions matters that are already in court.
And it will have a suit number.
Yes, but that one, when I saw it, I was but when there were even no parties. So it was a way of catching public attention to say that grievous, in their opinion, allegations have been made against the person they were talking about, the past governor of Rivers State. I find that device very, very curious, even mischievous, to say the least. And there was no need for any verifying affidavit. If there's no provision for that system of let me go and verify by an affidavit what I'm talking about. There's no need for all that. I read it, and I don't know what you want to say about it. If you ask me, I'm going to answer. But it's a very curious and weird procedure adopted for the purposes of attaining a political end in view.
What would be the profit value of such?
It has no value than what you just read. It has no value. The value to them that they want to achieve, if you ask me, because I'm in public, I've been public office and I'm involved now. What they want to achieve is to smear the person they were writing about. And if you know the peculiar nature of politics in River State, I was at the former governor's civic reception in Abuja last week. He himself said so. The fear of the former governor's involvement in the national government, in any capacity whatsoever, they feel will have some destabilizing effect in their own politics in River State. So what we will do, instead of, for those who watch football, Ronaldo or who is scoring, he just enjoy the leg, so he will be removed from the team. That is the purpose of that so-called affidavit in the court of River State. Former Governor Amaech should not participate in the government at the national level, because if he does, it may have a drawback effect on our own calculations back in River State. That is all that trash is intended to achieve.
Would that also account for why there is an open petition to the president of the country?
It's self-evident if you read it. There is so clear, even if you're politically naive. And it was published immediately after the civic reception for the governor, where the president's wife was in attendance, and all other dignitaries in the political sphere. So look, this man that you are paying tribute to in his being alive, this man is not what you think he is. See what he is. It's just a smear, and to prevent him from legitimately participating in the governance of the country in whichever capacity the president may choose. It's so clear, even to the politically mature. Whether they will achieve that is different ballgame altogether. That is intention.
All right, I've laid that foundation. Let me get to Ibim. Are you aware of this group called the Integrity Group? They've given the address as
that Integrity Group is all fraud. The signatory to that Integrity Group is Livingstone.
You know, and I was, he
has been a spokesman of Yeson Wike as Minister of
Livingstone
Wike, yes. You know, he claimed to be in the CLO, or he was in CLO, was using CLO as a front until somehow they were able to remove their name from him. That group is a one-man show.
The fact of the matter, like Wogu said, and you know, you must start first of all by whether the person who signs as the convener has any integrity at all. And if you do a throwback on Livingstone Weche, you would find out that at some point he fell out of favor with the CLO. And Benga, you and I have reported the CLO. Yes. So we know that it is a group that does have premium integrity. Unfortunately, Livingstone doesn't represent the CLO, but was parading himself as representing the CLO for the longest time, whilst he was not actually representing the CLO. Livingstone Weche is on the Media and Publicity Committee of the PDP. He was a member of that committee during the campaign, the Nyesom Campaign Organization. Livingstone Weche was a member of the campaign organization and a member of the Media and Publicity Committee. And so that already, like you know, like we say, every source has an interest. Already tells you that this source is a source you should query because of where he's coming from. But that has to do with the person. And then
but he leads the Integrity Group now. And the Integrity Group gives his address as kilometer 11. LL Junction.
It may be
LL Junction in Port Harcourt.
It may be that
I'm reading the way
LL is not in Port Harcourt.
No, it may be that myself and Wogu don't know this particular address.
LL is neither in Port Harcourt nor even in Obiakpo.
What about kilometer?
If you go there, you see what you say. You need to like kilometer 7. Let's go to LL tomorrow and measure by kilometers. LL is not in Port Harcourt, please.
No, do we know?
No, is he in Obiakpo?
Nor do we know kilometer
Or
7
something
in
in Elele, no.
Elele. Some of us don't know it. But again, he may know that address by himself. But I think, Benga, that the issue to address are the matters that he has raised in his
because it's not just talking about the governor. It's talking about aides of the governor, in other words, those who also served in that government. So since names were not mentioned and you happen to be the spokesperson for that government, I think that you should be able to speak on
and indeed I can. And let's start from the very curious presentation that over 60 billion was found, you know, the sales of the power sector. Now, the power sector, the power investments of the River State government were sold after meetings of the River State Executive Council on the 15th and on the 16th of August 2012.
Yes, I remember.
In 2012 was when ESCO deliberated on that issue.
And approved.
And 2 days of ESCO meeting, because it was a very intense debate. And some of those who are now in the PDP were members of the River State Executive Council at the time and were part of that deliberation. And why did ESCO decide to sell is the question you probably want to ask. Yeah. The first thing, and what I would do to you is read the extract from that ESCO meeting, with your permission, because that's a document that is still with Governor Wike and he can refer to ESCO minutes. So I will read the extract, a part of it. Okay? Now, what were the considerations? The first one was the fact that we realized that the power holding company of Nigeria had been privatized by the federal government to drive efficiency. As at the time we were speaking, PHCN was owing the government of River State for its electricity contributed to the national grid and had not paid the government of River State. Am I correct?
Yeah.
Yes. Had not paid. And while the PHCN was owing River State government, if you remember, had invested in generation, and transmission, distribution, and transmission. Yeah. We had invested in those three. We had transmission lines, we had bought transformers and all those things. So we had invested in substations, building of 28 substations. Now, PHCN was not paying for the power generated, number one. Number two, River State government continued to pay for gas and were indebted to SPDC and AGIP to the tune of 7 billion naira. And if we were not able to make the payments
for gas,
to fire the turbines, to ensure that,
and then you were generating power into the national grid,
and we were not getting money.
Wasn't paying anything.
Yes. In addition to that, the River State government was spending 1 billion naira. Am I correct?
Yes.
To service the power plants.
Annually.
Okay. Now, when we looked at all of this, the River State government realized that it needed to be more efficient in the management of power. Now, recall that at this point, the federal government was also privatizing power.
Unbundling.
Recall also that at the time Governor Amaech took over, former Governor Dili had made some investments in power. But by the time Governor Amaech took over, the power efficiency coming from the things Governor Dili left was at 20%. Governor Amaech ramped it up to 77%, in addition to building additional power points, power grids. So we had to sell. Now, why did River State government therefore sell? These were the reasons. And then in selling, River State government sold at per megawatt a much higher cost than federal government. I believe River government at $800,000 per megawatt, while the federal government sold at about 300,000 per megawatt.
Less than 50% of.
Less than 50%. And the River State government sold AFAM. Federal government sold AFAM beside River State government. Let me tell you, perhaps, and what River State government sold 70% of its holding, not all of it.
Not all of it.
Federal government sold all of it. River State government, and perhaps it's important to look at this, please. Let me just.
So River State government has some level of
in those power plants. Yes. Now, River State government, in disposing its power, earned $302 million for 70% of its power for 542 megawatts, while the federal government earned $260 million for 726 megawatts of the plants adjacent to the River State plant. So River State government actually made profit. Now, those proceeds were lodged in the River State assets sale accounts in Access Bank. And the money sold to companies. The dollar was sold to those who bidded. People
Okay,
bidded and bought from the bank.
Yes.
Okay.
So that Rivers State
As a
government
means
could
of
earn,
converting the
to naira.
dollar
so that,
to
so
naira.
that Rivers State government could earn naira. So, and all of the sale of assets by the way of the Rivers State government were noted in the appropriation bill.
Captured in the appropriation bill.
Captured, provided for and
as
captured.
a source of income.
Now, I will say to, in fact, again, it's important to note that this revenue, it was captured, and I would note it. Revenue source in the 2014 budget, FAC, amount in 241 billion, IGR 92 billion, proceed from sale
sales
of assets 33 billion.
It was captured.
It was captured.
That's extract from the budget.
Yes.
2014.
2014.
2014.
The 2014 budget presented to the Rivers State House of Assembly. It was captured.
Already anticipated that sale as a possible
It had been so.
source
It
of
was
revenue.
captured because the revenue was expected to now come in. Now, like I said, the monies were sold. The dollar was sold to enable government get naira because Rivers State government could not spend in dollars. It was sold to companies. Proper bidding, through the banks. It wasn't illegitimate. And I can tell you, the date of instruction for sale, on the 1st of December 2014, Capital Index Bank, there was instruction allowing them to sell Forex to Capital Index. Forex of 20 million, amount received 3.5 billion, paid into Zenith Bank Rivers State's account.
Yes.
Okay.
On the 3rd of December 2014, Result Import and Export Company, amount sold $15 million, amount received 2.6 billion, FX rate 175 naira to a dollar, which was above
the central bank rate at that time?
Yes, which was slightly above. So government actually made profit and paid into Rivers State account in Zenith Bank. On the 5th of December 2014, Avant Consulting and Management Company, $10 million, for which Rivers State government received 1.75
Can you give the date
billion.
again? Because the dates we are reading are different from the dates
Date of
published
instruction.
in the
I'm telling you,
advertorial.
these are the dates of instruction to the bank. And this is the Access Bank. This is Rivers State government
Printout
account printout from Access Bank, the dollar account. This is Rivers State government account printout from Zenith Bank, naira account. The remittances and the dates are here. I'm happy to, if it was possible, you can show this on TV. I'm happy to leave this for you to verify.
Okay.
These are banks, and as you can see Zenith Bank, you can see it is.
But the first thing that I noticed there is that the dates that you were reading out are completely different from the dates published by the Integrity
I've told you,
Group.
that
The Integrity Group gives the impression that all those transactions were done on the same day, in one day.
These are the dates. These are the dates, and you can verify.
Okay. If you can leave that will be okay.
These are the bank details.
Then there's also an assertion that apart this, it says these were curious and hurried transfer from the power asset sale proceed account. There's another assertion it makes.
In total, Benga, Rivers State government.
He says that all of these companies that bought the dollars in exchange for naira,
yes,
are owned by the same person. That's the assertion because they are all located in the same office.
I have just announced to you the various. Fortunately, the good thing, if Livingston which you wanted to do, as a lawyer, he could have gone to CAC.
Sorry, please. It does say he's a lawyer. Have you verified?
Okay, I'm sorry, sir.
Okay.
Okay. Livingston Weche could have gone to CAC to confirm. Even in the course of our work as journalists, when you have reason and you're investigating a story, you follow through. You follow the money to the end. If he had just made the extra effort of going to the banks, of course, maybe the banks, he could have got an FOI when the FOI regime, and an FOI would have allowed him to go to CAC. And even without FOI, in those days, we didn't have FOI. You would go to CAC and you would do a check on the owners of the companies. So he would have been able to note the owners.
Rather than assert that, in fact, that those monies were just transferred to those companies.
And to him, the fact alone of those transfers amounted to fraud.
But like I have pointed to you, Benga, it was transferred, it was paid, they bought the dollar and the naira was paid. And you can see the movement.
To the State government account.
You can see the movement from Access to Zenith.
To be spent as captured in the
appropriation
allocations.
And it was captured. The Rivers State government, Because one of the things, the reason we have gone to this extent is that Governor Amaech believes in transparency and accountability. He was the first governor in this country to begin a stewardship account. He was the first governor to publicly say to people, this is what I have received, this is what I have spent, this is where I'm spending it. He was the first governor in this country to take over the payment of primary school teachers, which is a local government function.
And I think the first state to have his own procurement act.
Yes.
And for which the World Bank not only recommended, but asked other states to go and see the implementation of the due process regime in Rivers State. So in terms of, he was the first governor to pass a fiscal responsibility law. Yeah. I remember as Commissioner of Information that one of my briefs was to educate Rivers people on how to use the fiscal responsibility law.
To check government
government officials. We put up billboards in Rivers State telling Rivers people, you can report a commissioner, you can go to court. I'm not sure many governments did that. Governor Amaech, as a rule, would always say to Rivers people, this is what we have earned. This is where it has gone. And which is why you can see us as members of ESCO, we can come and say to you, this matter was debated on ESCO. Governor Amaech never, as governor of Rivers State, at any point in time, there was no time he either initiated or concluded any contracts. Contracts were initiated by line ministries. I know that the monorail project, when the debate was hot on the monorail project, he asked the vice chairman of ESCO, which was the deputy governor of Rivers State, to chair the committee on the monorail investigation.
I wasn't there at the time. I joined at the second.
You joined the
but
second.
I met a debate on Reason Palm.
Yes.
The first day in ESCO,
yeah.
Debate on Reason Palm was on, and I contributed.
Reason Palm, they didn't talk about Reason Palm. Reason Palm was another of the concession.
They couldn't have talked about it. Anyway, let one guy continue with this.
Because Reason Palm is you have over 5,000 Rivers people employed.
I did the agreement.
And were any revenue from Reason Palm?
Okay. The first day in ESCO.
What about
that was
SPA?
the debate that I met. And Reason Palm had been moribund for God knows how many decades.
Yeah.
We got SPA of
SPA had been moribund since the 80s.
Yes. No, we got the person that took over Reason Palm. That's what's her name now?
Seat
of Belgium.
Yes.
Belgium. To take over Reason Palm on base of concession for 35 or 40 years. He paid about 4 billion naira to the federal government to pay off existing financial liabilities of workers who hadn't been paid. It was part of the condition.
Then he employed over 5,000.
Over 5,000. I did the agreement. And let me tell you, Benga, I
never
met with him
and he pays taxes.
I never met with the Vanderberg is his name.
Yes.
I never met with him one-on-one. We did the agreement through his agents, finished everything. And the governor warned me and Commissioner for Agric not to go there to look for any employment for anybody. Yes. Because it's no longer in our hands.
Even the governor of Rivers State has not recommended half person. I'm not talking of one person.
I have not met Vanderberg on one-on-one.
And Reason Palm is situated in Ubima.
Yes, in Ubima. So when people talk about integrity group or talk about allegations of fraud, I just laugh. Benga, it is too late to look for the leg of snake. Snake has no leg.
Unfortunately for the people,
it's just too late.
You know, one doesn't want to join issues, but Governor Amaech is one governor who did not have any of his relatives serving in government.
Anyway,
I hear that right now several relatives of certain persons are serving in government.
Let's conclude on this issue of power project. So it's not as if the Rivers State government knew it was leaving office or decided to fritter away the power assets.
As at the time power assets were sold, they were sold in 2012. It was a decision of the Rivers State Executive Council. Sold in 2012. Now, at the time, don't forget that Governor Amaech had always believed in saving money for the rainy day. And the rainy day came. When our resources depleted from 22 billion a month to 6 billion under the former administration of President Jonathan.
After you lost the always.
Well, it started going gradually from 12 to 11 to 6.
From loss of oil wells to of oil theft. Loss and theft accounted for low revenue. From
12 billion to 11 billion to 6 billion. And Governor Amaech was very... Do you know something that is curious? And perhaps it will be of interest to you. As at May 27th, when we were in the Rivers State Executive Council, the final ESCO meeting, even after Governor Amaech knew that the PDP had purportedly won the elections, he focused on signing off what... In fact, the 2 weeks before we left office, he concluded the payment of Sharks, Dolphin, and Rivers Angels. Do you know that as we're sitting here, Governor Amaech was not focused on severance benefits of his
No, no, no.
commissioners.
We
Did you
did- we
receive
did- we
yours?
received-
We
we
did
did
receive.
severance.
Governor
So
Amaech
those
did
of us
not
should be
receive
paid.
his severance
We
benefits.
weren't paid.
He was focused on making sure he concluded on salary payment.
Of civil servants, yes.
On May 27th, by the time Governor Amaech was making his broadcast and we were leaving office, he had made all payments of all civil servants for the month of March. He had commenced payment for the month of April, because for
But
the
that
month
wasn't the information.
that is the
Well, we
fact.
are from you now.
Is that
Not only is it the fact, it was he said it in a live broadcast. As at April, when Governor Amaech was, as at May 27th, when he was reading his broadcast, we had received 6 billion from Federation account, 6.5 billion.
Yes.
He paid salaries and then had in the usual process we do in Rivers State, since the resources depleted, was we pay salary, then as IGR comes, we pay. As IGR comes, we pay. So they had given instructions for payment of salaries, the first tranche. And the second tranche had just been signed by the Commissioner for Finance that day as we were leaving office, or that's May 27th, because some money had just come in from IGR for the payment of, so he had commenced payment of April salaries. He had paid off pensioners, all parastatal pensions. He was owing 2 months of parastatal pension salaries and 3 months of mainstream pension salaries. Don't forget that when we came on board, we inherited over 4 billion in debt of pension salaries. So he had paid that off. How were we now paying off the debt? Every month, we would then, out in addition to paying those who were retiring, gratuities and all that, he cleared, he inherited 4 billion of pensions, he inherited debts in gratuity. He cleared all gratuities that were owed by the time he came on board. And then we began to say, okay, every month, set aside 100 to 150, to go into payment of backlog of pension debts. That was the governor that we worked with, and we are proud to have worked with.
For me, extremely proud.
I am very proud to have served in the administration of Right Honorable
For me,
Chibike
extremely
Rotimi
proud.
Amaechi, because we learned the meaning of service to country.
It's not lip service.
We learned the meaning of passion
It's not by-
for
by-
leadership,
by media-
passion for service,
Yes.
passion for the state. Governor Amaechi lived, breathed, and walked Rivers State.
Openness in governance.
And as people who served with him, I speak for myself, and I know that my colleague speaks for himself. It was an honor to have served with such a man.
All right. From conclusion of power asset is that even now that the government has followed the example of the federal government by disposing of power
Even
asset,
at a better competitive rate, more than the federal government at the time.
And
Yes.
Rivers State still
But
owns,
you still
still
have
owns
equity
30%.
shares.
Yes.
in those
30%.
power
Yes.
Yes. Rivers State government still
These are
has.
verifiable
So
facts.
as
And what that means is that forever the Rivers State government will continue to earn
and revenue, it's a
revenue from it.
PPP.
If it becomes possible to earn revenue,
Yes.
No, you know why you earn revenue? Because now it's in private
That's why
hands.
it says
It's a
it becomes
PPP.
possible to earn
Yes.
revenue, earn revenue.
yeah, that's why I said
Yes.
if it becomes
So when they
possible
say
to
he
earn
sold power assets,
And
it's
you
a
know the
deceptive
thing, for
language.
every concessioning arrangement Governor Amaechi went into, apart from the fact that the assets will be improved and returned to the state, which was a critical element that he insisted in ESCO, the assets will be improved and returned to the state. But while the assets remain in the hands of the concessionaire, the Rivers State government continues to earn revenue. Yes, from taxes.
There's a second allegation because there are about three
There are
allegations
three.
that
I
are
read
Yes,
I read
there.
myself
yes.
three.
There's a second one, unlawful payment to and fraudulent conversion of 4, I think this should be billion, 4 billion, 600 and, is it 4 billion? I don't know. Or 463 something by Clino Reef Specialist Hospitals and Leisure Limited. It gives the background.
Yes.
The Rivers government purportedly entered into a public-private partnership agreement with Clino Reef Specialist Hospital and Leisure Limited to build a multi-story Caribbean-wide specialist hospital in Port Harcourt. It concludes by saying, curiously, instead of making efforts to recover the money already paid to Clino Reef Specialist Hospital and Leisure Limited, the former governor turned 360 degrees to award a fresh contract to Clinotech Limited to construct this same hospital he had earlier contracted with Clino Reef to provide under a PPP agreement.
Again, I can discuss this. In 2008, the Rivers State government signed a memorandum of understanding with Clinotech Diagnostic and Pharmaceutical Incorporated Canada for the building and operation of a mega hospital. This was in 2008, January. Clinotech conducted feasibility studies at the old UPTH site, the old UPTH hospital,
Township,
which is in Port Harcourt Township, old Port Harcourt Township. But after the feasibility, there was a need to move the hospital as one of the major projects to kickstart the greater Port Harcourt city,
the
new
signature
city.
project and
Yes.
the new Port Harcourt city.
Yes,
Exactly.
Greater Port Harcourt City.
So they were asked to relocate. By this time, they had done the initial feasibility and so on and so forth. Now, the agreement was that Rivers State government will make 40% equity, Clinotech will make 60% equity. In 2008, May, the Rivers State government released its own 40%, well, 4.6 billion,
Equity funding.
its own equity funding. And the matter started. But Clinotech was unable to meet its obligation. And so the Rivers State Executive Council, rather than lose its money, agreed to award it as a turnkey project to Clinotech with direct funding by government. This was a decision of council. On March, 5th of March, I believe, in 2010,
Yes.
2010, 5th of March,
I wasn't there.
Governor
The
Amaech
records.
was not impressed with the pace of work. And
I think I was with him on that trip.
Thank you.
That
No,
was
no,
where,
this-
where he got
No,
so
you were
angry
with him on the second trip.
Okay.
Before that trip, on the
The
5th
one
of
where he
March,
ordered the arrest of the
yes,
contractor.
on the 5th of March, he lodged a formal complaint with the River State Police Command, reporting Dr. Harrison, what's his name? Harrison.
Dr. Harrison.
Harrison of FII, the CEO of Clinotech. Governor Amaech reported him to the River State Police Command on the 5th of May, 2010. The River State Police Command went ahead, and I have a copy of the police reports. Should have it here.
Is there. The police concluded
Police
report on the matter.
Investigated the matter. Thank
That's
you.
it.
This is a copy of the police report. It was given to Governor Amaech on the 24th of March. It was from the Office of Deputy Commissioner of Police. It was signed by ASP Telema Jim Bob for Deputy Commissioner of Police, CID, Port Harcourt. The report said that they had investigated. Would you like me to read?
Investigated the
Would you like
contractor.
me-
Investigated the allegation made by the government.
By the
Yeah,
governor.
yeah, against the
that the
contractor.
contractor
Can I-
had collected money
Money
from
and
the
Yes.
state
after enough
government
work.
Yes.
Yes.
and wasn't doing any work.
Yes.
Yes. Can I read it to you?
Yeah, sure, please.
Okay. All right. On the 5th, I refer to your letter dated 24th, yada, yada, yada. On the 5th of March 2010, a case of alleged breach of contract and fraudulent diversion of funds was reported by His Excellency, the Executive Governor of Rivers State, Right Honorable Chibike Rotimi Amaechi, who called on the Commissioner of Police, Rivers State, CP Suleiman Abba MNI, to witness the testimonies of the Honorable Commissioner for Health, Dr. Samson Kapaka, and Dr. Harrison Ofiyai of Clinotech Construction Company. The Clinotech Construction Company was awarded a contract to construct the Justice Caribbean White Specialist Hospital Port Harcourt and had so far received about the sum of 3.94 billion, being the 20%, without anything commensurate to show on ground. That the site had been abandoned and the aforementioned form fraudulently diverted. In the course of investigation, Dr. Harrison Ofiyai, MD of Clinotech Construction Company, volunteered statement that the company did not abandon the site, adding that the obligation required of his company as contained in the contract agreement and the APG terms for the sales of funds with the Access Bank, which include importation of machineries, mobilization of equipment and personnel, local and expatriate to site, site clearing, access road to site clearing, perimeter fencing, soil investigation, erection of site offices and residential quarters, and other supports have been achieved by the company. That the fluctuating exchange rate of the naira to the dollar had soared, the 20% mobilization fee from 4.3 billion to about 4.63 billion, which only about 3.94 billion had so far been disbursed, leaving a balance of 684 million. That in spite of this, work has not stopped and his company has achieved the 20% component inquired, including 50% piling at the new site. That out of the 519 units of pass, it has sunk 340 units. That the company had initial challenges due to the relocation to another site after substantial costs had been incurred, yada, yada, yada. When investigators visited the site, indigenous as well as expatriate staff were met at work, an indication that the company did not abandon the site, and the stated accomplishment, excluding the pilings, were not all visible, excluding pilings which were not all visible, verified. Both parties are sorting out the grey areas. This report is for record purposes. ASP Thelma Jim Bob. This was in March.
That is the outcome of a report to the police made by the governor himself.
Now, in May, the governor was on an inspection with a team of journalists. Fortunately, you were.
With the deputy governor.
And the deputy governor.
Engineer Telekuru.
Governor Amaech got to site in May, was not impressed by the work inside, got back to government house, invited the contractor, Amaech, and got him arrested. And at that point, decided to terminate the contract forthwith because he did not see a commensurate activity.
Vis-a-vis the
From
money
the
paid.
last time the police issued a report, at that time.
Thank you. So the contractor went back to the police and resolved the issues, made his promises and all that, and was granted bail. Having done that, still not satisfied, the governor set up another committee to review that contract and have conversations with both the contractor and the Ministry of Health officials in order to move the project forward. That committee was chaired by the Executive Secretary of the Public-Private Partnership Directorate, Mrs. Anita Laz Mokafo. And it was after that
we now decided to
re-award the contract.
It must go on. But Benga, I think the point to note here, if you read that portion of the petition by Integrity Group.
Yes.
The complaint there, if you read it again at the end, is that the governor did nothing. I don't know whether you saw it.
Yeah.
Can you read it for us?
He maintained a studied silence.
Can you read it to the public? Yeah.
Curiously, instead of making efforts to recover the money already paid to Clinotech Specialist Hospital and Leisure Limited, the governor turned 360 degree to award a fresh contract to the same hospital. I'm not sure that's the particular one. Even at that, not even a single stone has been laid at the proposed site. Then it went on. The Governor Amaech, out of criminal negligence or sheer connivance, had maintained a studied silence for several years.
You don't need to be a lawyer or an expert in linguistics or even
to maintain a studied silence to do nothing.
Yes, in the face of a report by the governor against the contractor to the police. A report was turned in. The governor tried to let things be because police said so, and nothing happened. And you now said that he maintained study silence for over 7 years. That's totally illogical and baseless for a group that calls itself Integrity Group.
All right, let me read some tweets because the tweets have been pouring in. Sometimes the reason why we read the tweets is because of follow-up questions as well. Olusegun Dada says, this thing is stopping me. It says, despite the... I just get this one out of the way. Okay, I'll just get somebody to come and get it working again. Yes, let's go on. Perhaps we should.
So for me, the conclusion does not flow from the facts. Supported by the documents from the police in 2008 or 9.
From 2008?
Yes.
So May 2010?
To say maintain studied silence is completely way off. Does not accord with what you have seen or explained to you, yes.
Okay, while we wait for that, let's get the third allegation.
Yes.
The third allegation is captured under what it calls unlawful enrichment of Messrs. Collect Nigeria Limited with public funds to the tune of 1,505,895,000 naira and 72 kobo. That's the third. That's the third. It gives a background to it.
Even we answer, but let me just say this. You know, one philosopher says, "Where so many leaves abound, much fruit beneath is hidden." All those verbose, large, fraudulent enrichment. How? Any particulars there? I did the agreement for Collect Solutions Limited. First, it was an agreement I met between Skybank and River State government.
That's right.
As revenue consultants. There was, if you hit this revenue target, we'll pay you extra this.
That's right.
And when that contract expired, I already come to government. We decided to give to another person, all in the bid to show up revenue base. And we upped the ante.
That's
if
right.
you get to this level 2, we'll give you so much. That was what we did. And I am yet to see what criminal element is contained in a decision of government.
All right, let me read some tweets. This might interest you. This one says, the Buhari, I believe. Yesterday, Wike flagged up a road construction in Oro Igwe, which was awarded by Amaech to Wike years back, and he ate the money. This one is from Oluwa Pemi 27. It says, quite interesting. Wish you can invite at least 2 members of the integrity group to square up with the Amaech team. All right. Joseph Endam says, Benga, have you ever seen a thief say, I'm guilty? We all know the truth. Amaech stole big time. Those people in your studio should shut up. Okay. Which one is next? Amuwo. This one says, Mr. Aruleba, Rivers and by extension, Nigeria's trouble is Amuwo. I don't know what that means. The entire running of government requires unbiased revamping. Okay. Usman Ibrahim says, those on your program this morning are agents of Governor Amaech. Is okay to defend him, but that government should be investigated by EFCC. I've been longing to see the day you will invite Engineer Tele Ikuru. Okay. David Wills, I think that's the name, says Governor Amaech did well in Rivers State and was very transparent to some extent. Appreciate his leadership so much. That's David Wills. Which one is next? It is clear that Governor Wike is on a witch hunt mission to ruin Amaech's chances. That's Obat. I think, okay, let's leave it there.
The thing Benga to note is this, and you know, for us as you know, in the Amaech administration, for the period we served, we were quite delighted and happy to engage Rivers people, because we had the privilege to serve courtesy of Rivers people, and we take that very seriously. Now, Governor Amaech, former Governor Amaech, at the inception of his administration, met an IGR of 2.5 billion a month. By the time we were leaving, we had increased that to an average of 7.5 billion. Was
it through this third allegation, through this signing of this?
We had an agreement with Sky. We had an agreement with Sky Consultants.
Yeah. Can you make it quick? I'm told that we have just about a minute or so.
We had an agreement with Sky, and like the Attorney General has already said, that agreement ended. Former Attorney General. That agreement had ended, and we needed to get a new consultant on board. And again, it was at ESCO that we agreed that it was important to give a different person a chance. And we listened to presentations from more than one person. Skybank made a presentation, as did several other persons. Eventually, ESCO decided to go with this group. It is within the purview by law.
Yes, that's why I'm asking.
It is within
what is the criminal element
of for Governor
job to
have someone go? But let us look at what is not. What is happening in Rivers State. The present governor took 30 billion in 30 days, and is planning to take another 45 billion facility at a time when revenues have gone up, at a time when the federal government has released funding from LNG to states, at a time when he inherited funds. I mean, so when we talk about who has expended what and who took what facility, by the time Governor Amaech was leaving office, what he was owing to the banks was less than 15 billion.
Lastly, on a legal note, in this particular instance where there's an affidavit or a purported affidavit publicized in newspapers, it's not calling on anybody to defend anything. It has no anything attached to it, no evidence, no document. What can anybody who feels aggrieved by the content of such affidavit? Is that?
Well, yes. If anybody was mentioned, if he was liable, you can take an action. Okay. But I've told you the purpose of
the fact that it's an affidavit doesn't give it any legal cover.
It was not want to post one to a court proceeding.
Okay.
No. So for me, I've told you the purpose is to smear the person of Amaech and prevent him from participating at the central government. As far as I'm concerned, that's all it. But can I just make one comment? I don't know how many minutes we have.
You don't have any minutes, except if the comment is going to be just 5 seconds.
Well, yes, I read two tweets where they said we are Amaech's people, so we cannot say. Well, there are documents from police for John government. There are documents from Access Bank for so who can lie against documents. And finally, on this, I want to say that anyhow I look at it, the purpose is very, very clear. I've told you before. All of us know snake has no leg. You can't look for a leg of snake by this time of human resistance.
All right, thank you so much. It's been nice seeing you guys again,
Thank
particularly
you,
Beam.
Benga.
I'm happy that you are back with us.
Don't worry, I'm back with you fully.
Beam is immediate past Commissioner for Information and Communications, Rivers State, a powerful business editor as well. Thank you so much, Beam.
Thank you, Benga.
And of course, Wogu Bombs, Esquire, immediate past Attorney General and Commissioner for Justice.
Thank you.
The only time I had the opportunity of interview him, he left me dazed with his level of legal acumen. Thank you so much, Bas. I appreciate your time.
Thank you.
That's Focus Nigeria this morning. Tomorrow, something more very interesting as well will be coming your way. Do enjoy the rest of the day. My name is Benga Arulema.